participants who have kept time. We hope that others will be able to join us as we proceed. But without wasting time, I think that I'm going to take a minute or two to introduce today's meeting, after which I would invite Coach Stone to start us off. So I hope that while joining this meeting, many were wondering why this meeting in particular, and why the junior men's dialogue or fellowship. And I thought that I would introduce this meeting by sharing that this arrangement has been organized on the basis that, looking around, you will realize that there's a lot that we, the young men, need to learn. And whereas there's a lot of formal education, people go to universities, accumulate degrees, and get all matters of qualification, there's one area of our lives that remains ignored, that remains redundant and wanting. And I think that it's not like in the early days where there was an element of informal education, whereby time would be taken by either uncles or grandfathers to share with men, young men particularly, about what life looks like, about what a man's role in society is, and what a man should take as critical in as far as preparing themselves to live life and to engage society is concerned. So that by the end of this meeting, there are four main things that I hope will be attended to, or that we will learn. The first is that I hope that we'll take more time as individuals to rethink about our identity as men, because there are all sorts of demands and orientation from all angles in society. Everybody telling us what we should do, so that if we do not know who we are supposed to be, we'll end up getting trapped in circles trying to satisfy everybody's expectation. Then the second item is that I hope that by the end of this meeting, you will be caused to rethink your status, or the level of the extent of your journey in as far as manhood is concerned. And I hope that we'll also be able to understand the difference between boyhood and manhood. And lastly, I hope that by the end of this meeting, we'll be able to rethink how we can prepare ourselves to engage society and to live as conscious and proactive men, so that we are able to engage society in a manner that is worth our contribution as men. So today, the person we have sharing with us is Coach Stone. I know that Coach Stone is not a new personality in our circles. I think that I've known Coach for the last 10 years. And one of the things that I know Coach is passionate about is that is consciously passionate about the plight of the boy child. I know that Coach has a mentoring program. You may know it as Wolves. Some people know it as a football academy, but I know it as a mentoring platform. I know that Coach uses the ball to attract boys and teach them about life, mentor them to be responsible and conscious individuals in society. And I think that has been the biggest reason as to why I chose Coach today as one of our speakers. And besides that, we know that is among the oldest members of the Cornerstone family. He's among the pioneers. So if you remember that Cornerstone began in the mid 60s, Coach was among the pioneers, the people who combed the ranch, killed the pythons and whatnot. So Coach has been around, he has observed. I know that he has a lot to share with us. And Coach, I therefore take this time to invite you to share with us today on the topic transitioning from boyhood to manhood.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, Coach.
Okay. Thank you so much, Edmond. And I would like to welcome everybody who is on Zoom. I know Edmond took time to do this. I take this opportunity to thank God, first of all, just who has kept us up to today, and even being able to share this evening, just this afternoon, to be that we can hear and have these gadgets to help us really reach each other. True, Edmond, those are the way you introduced me, those are many titles, but just call me a servant. I'm just a servant of God who has been there and who think he's still there just to help fulfill his mission. My name is Kyambadde Stone. As everybody, for those who don't know, I serve with Cornerstone, and I serve the young men, the Wolves. I also served in the football fraternity, but it's just an opportunity that God has given me all the years. When Edmond told me the topic, I thought it was very important for me, because every mistake I make, those families and those men could injure, I'll be responsible. That's why every man or every boy I meet, I make sure I tell the truth so that I don't look behind to regret. The topic is transitioning from boyhood to manhood. It's very important for us to know that transition is like learning a relay. You can have very good runners, but the exchange here, the battle, is very key. And if a boy doesn't transit very well from boyhood to manhood, there are a lot of mistakes we can always have. Maybe I'll take you back a bit to look at the history. When you look at all our grandparents, they stayed at home and the old men were there. So there was nothing much to say they will teach them, because they would see. Then we got the revolution, the Industrial Revolution, when it came. The men left home for miles away, and they left their sons. Their sons used to see them every morning, just waking up strong in their best hours of the day, working, sweating, and doing everything. So the sons used to see. But now they were left. They went to work in industries, in factories. And then a second thing came, the World War II came. Our fathers, you remember, the grandparents went, and even those in other countries. So our fathers exchanged their youth for war. And when they came back, what worked at war did not work at home. So they had got strong hearts, but now they were separated emotionally from the kids. So there was nothing. Now we have another one, which is called the feminism. Feminism comes in. And now it seems like men don't know their role. They don't know their role anymore. So where do we stand? You can see all that. Then I've also come to realize that manhood is in a state of confusion. And as we all know very well, that confused men create major problems. And confused men settle for less. So how do we transit? How do we get the truth from what's happening? Then we know that the pain in the world is mostly caused by men. Go everywhere you see. But I think the role of every society is to define the role of its men. Once men know their role, they can always work out, because men want to win. All men want is winning. So you can go back and see the village where you come from. All men fight, they want to win. And I have a text which maybe you guys can read later. It's in 1 Corinthians 13:11. When it says about that, when I was a boy, I thought like a boy. So I just picked something and I said, I want you to imagine you are still a boy and you're transiting into man. Now, the boy in you must die. The boy in you must die. This one, you have to do it whether you want, because girls are looking for men to marry, but they find dressed men like me. They find boys dressed like men. They don't see the men. Maybe their fathers were men. They don't see that. Then how do you become a man? Because the question says, really, when I was a man, when I was a boy, I thought like a boy. But when I became a man, I left the childish things away. And I became a man. Now, what childish things did I have to put away? Very important. Because we have to understand the childish things we left away. See, not working hard is boyhood. Being provided for is boyhood. Being protected is boyhood. We have to ask. That text really helps me a lot, because whenever I'm sharing on manhood, I go back to it and say, what? When I was a boy, I was like a boy, dressed like a boy, everything. Then I've come to realize there are 4 phases of manhood. The man is to transit. The first phase is the king phase. The king phase, this is characterized by righteousness, righteous energy. A man must have integrity. This phase doesn't want to get ashamed. This phase wants to make sure that everything goes well. This phase is very important. Then the second phase, a man must have a warrior phase. This warrior phase is characterized by conquering energy. He initiates. He fights for his thing. He protects. He provides. That's why when a man, something happens to his family, you see that warrior man comes out. And women like that. She wants to see when there's something, how is the man going to act? But when a man acts like a boy, now asking the woman what should be done, you see, the warrior face is not there. The third phase is the lover phase. This is characterized by romantic energy. Doesn't matter how strong a soldier is, time comes when he really needs love. He gives it and he also receives it. The lover phase is very important. Where he needs to be a warrior, he can't be a lover. You see? The fourth phase is the friendly phase. This is characterized by connecting energy. No man can climb a manhood mountain alone. No. He needs other men. That's why you see, as we go on, you'll see that there are so many men who are lonely. And the dangerous thing is to be lonely in a crowd. It's very dangerous to be lonely in a crowd. But you can, because you don't have that connecting energy. You're not a friend. You're not friend-worthy. So you need to be a king. You need to have a king face. You need to have a warrior face when it comes to that. That's why you say in a home, you say, no, that one, we can't do it. But these days, men can't because of the influence, you see. They are soft. It's not that it should be wild, but they need it. And the women, the woman wants to hear that. See? The son may say this, but the father may say no. You see? Because that's a man. So it's very important for us to look at those faces. And very, 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 very important for us. You can see a man, maybe if there's something and things are not going well, maybe you have made a visit, and you look and you see, you say, maybe this man now is going to do this. When you see him softening, then you know the man lacks a warrior face. He's not a warrior inside. But all men must have that, where they say, no, I can't do this. No, we cannot go for that. You see? Then where he feels that, because the greatest gift a man can give his son is integrity, which he learns from home. Because the legacy you leave at home is the legacy you leave behind. The son will not remember so many things. He will only remember the way he used to see you act, the way he used to do that. So as we transit, we must make sure that we allow the boy in us to die. The boy in us must die, and then we get the manhood phase, where integrity is integrity. We don't compromise. Where when something is wrong, where we are supposed to fight, fight to get it, not boxing, not what, but fight with energy, work hard, get it, yes. Where if it's love, our girls or our women will really understand. They will feel us when we are there. See? And then when it is friendly, they see us with friends. When I was growing up, I used to see my old man with friends, and you would see him. It's a different thing. When he's with them, maybe you've gone down to meet him. When he's with them, it's quite different. So I think the modern men should look for that. Now, I'll talk about maybe 3 steps to manhood, and the time, I know our time will be gone because I'm supposed to finish like 30 minutes. Now, number 1, the first step is looking back. You must look back. The unexamined life is not worth a living. You must look back. You should know that all of us as men, every man has a story. And your past explains who you are and why you are, and why you do what you do. We must examine our life and look back and see. We need to understand our story. We might think that maybe we are alone. We are not. Everybody has a story. Our story may be unique, but you are not alone. And this is very important. Sometimes we don't want to look back. But if we don't, it's going to affect our manhood as we keep growing, as we go, because that explains exactly who we are. See where you came from. See how you grew up. Very important. Just go back and see, because that's your story. And let me tell you, if you have a small group where you can sit and tell each other stories, you'll see. People have stories. You might think that maybe they are okay. No, they are not. That's their story. Unique. But you are not alone. And when a boy fails to connect with his dad, demons of any kind fill the void. It's very dangerous. We have to go back and look back and see, how did I grow up? How was our home? You look back and see. You see? We have, all of us men, we have what they call unfinished business with our past, which is very bad. Someone may say, no, but if you are sincere to yourself, when you look and go back, you'll see there's some unfinished business back at home. You look back. When I look back, I see when I was a kid. I used to grow up, and then we used to stay in our courtyard. When the man is tired, he's seated there, maybe reading his papers, maybe taking a cup of tea. I see him. He's there a long time, but I can see. See, when I look back, that's how I was brought up. That's the home I grew up. And until a man unpacks his past and deals with the pain that resides there, he can never be a real man. We have some pain. That's why men keep quiet. And they fill that void with the dangerous things. You see? When a boy fails to connect with his dad, there are demons. He fills it with some drugs, some beers, some others, and he thinks it's just maybe I'm learned from my friends. No. No, you just silence the pain, which is not good. Most of those guys, when you meet them, they're silencing it. But that's not the drug. You see, there's some unfinished business which we have to finish in the past. See, living in the past is not manhood, it's boyhood. But we are not products of our past, but not prisoners of the past, unless we choose to be. But we need to correct the past. For better or for worse, we are all significantly shaped by the kind of family life we experienced. When you meet every boy, he will tell you how he grew up. He has a story to tell. And those stories are good. It's not that they're bad, but they have shaped us and they have made us who we are. See? If I say 30 seconds, we keep quiet and you look back. Just look back. See your dad. See when you were growing up. If he was there. If he wasn't there, still, same thing. Look back. Look back. We have some wounds which we may see. See? The second step is every man has a suitcase. And there are some things in that suitcase. They are wounds. So I call it unpacking. You must unpack some things. Because if you don't, you are going to become a man and marry and then go into another family, your family. You are going to see, it's going to disturb you. It's going to disturb you in your marriage. See, you have to unpack by undressing business, the unfinished business of our past. There are things you have to unpack, whether you want or not. Let me tell you, physical wounds lead to physical scars, but emotional wounds lead to wounds of the soul. So if you don't unpack, you are going to go with those wounds in your marriage and you'll be there, putting yourself drinking, say what, drug, and you think, that's how I am, that's how. No, that's not the way you are. There are some things. Because now, if we are to transit into the real man you want to be, these are serious issues. And we must not take them lightly. You see, if you have physical wounds, you said a car, one time we were digging and then I cut myself, you still have that scar. But how about the emotional wounds? You think about them, of the soul, maybe from your father, maybe how will you heal them? Because transiting into manhood takes courage. And unpacking is one of the courage we have to take. Let me ask you and say, how many of us were taught by our fathers how to approach girls, about sex, about money, about relationships? You go and ask your friends and say, did your father sit you down and teach you about how to be a man? That becomes a wound. Because you can put on that suit, you can even put on you drive a nice car. But when you go into men, these men tell you and say, but you must grow. Because they see you are still a boy, they say you must grow, you're married, you have kids, but you behave like a boy. If they can see it. See? So you can see that's a wound. Many of us were not taught that. How do you approach a girl? How do you start off? How do you do this? We didn't. That's a wound we have to unpack. See, money. Did your father teach you how to sign a check? Did he tell you how to save? Did he teach you some of those things? See, you have to unpack. Relationships. How do you stay with your fellow men? Because you cannot change what you don't understand. You can't. You cannot change what you don't understand. That's what you know. But how? Who told you? How did you approach that girl? You just saw friends, how they do it, and you also said, I'm also going like that. But you think if your dad had taken you through that, how would it look like? You see? So there are some things we have to unpack. These are life skills. See? Every father must teach his son. Did we have that opportunity? Well, what is a wound? I can tell you that a wound is any unresolved issue where lack of closure adversely impacts and shapes the direction of dynamics a man's life is now. So the wound, I'll tell you about 4 wounds. The first wound is the absent father wound, then the bonded mother wound, the heart wound, and then the lonely. These are wounds. whether we want or not. They are wounds. And if we don't unpack them and change and really make real, manhood is not easy. You have seen men, they have everything, but they fail as men. Not because they are weak. Don't think that they are weak. They are not. They are not. You see? They are not weak, but they are strong. A father. How was your father? Was your father always there? Was he at home? Was he absent? If he was, how did you grow? How did you grow up? Huh? Because this is very important. How? I mean, some of us, even dressing. You see, one time I went to a wedding where it was in abroad, but I went with one of my friends who's also an African, but I think the suit he had gone with was not so good. And then the other father of my friend had to put him on the side and tell him that, no, this is how you should do. Make this your suit, you bend it on this. I didn't get embarrassed because I knew. I think he had come from, he had a problem. Maybe the way he grew up, and it was not his problem, because that was a wound. That was a wound. How about mother? You see? The mother wound. All of us know very well that some of us, we have mothers who really love us so much. And mother, he has the love, he has also the control. You see? A mother. And the mother, because she loves you so much, you may not realize it so much, but it's a wound. So really, she's now becoming, he's going to control. And you also don't want to leave her. When we are born, there's it's called what? The umbilical cord cut from our mother. That relationship is cut. And then mother raises us, stay with her, we do this, we do that. Then our mother becomes like our next, I don't know, second to our life. But as we grow as men, I'm telling you, you have to cut that off also. You must, if you are to enjoy your manhood. I'm not saying you leave her, you don't love her, you do. But there's what they call emotional, the other one is, this one is emotional. You have to cut it. You see? You have to cut it emotionally. Mommy to leave you, just like the Bible says, you leave her and then go and stay with your woman. It is the challenge most boys or most men are getting. They are still boys, they are still, mommy is ordering this, mommy is telling him to do this, mommy is saying this, and mommy said like this, and mommy said this Christmas, and mommy said so and so should go, and mommy said, now you are still a boy. It's not easy to cut that emotional thing from mommy and you. It's not easy. But you have to, if you are to become a man. Transiting to a man, that's what it means. You can cry all the tears. She can also cry. That's true. But now it's time to cross over. She's your mother. You love her. You do what? But you must cut the emotional bond. It's not easy. The umbilical cord was cut. Now the emotional cord. It's not easy. But that's all. Yeah, remember, my mother, it was not easy. But that's it. You have to take that. So to transit from boyhood to manhood, that is one of it. Those are wounds. You have to, you have to unpack. We have the lonely wound. It is also a wound. Some guys want to stay alone, but you cannot live alone. You can't. See, no man is an island. You must, to climb the manhood mountain, you need others. You need others. It's very, very, very important for us to understand that loneliness is not good. It's not. And if you don't unpack, if you don't look back to see where you came from, and if you don't unpack, these wounds will be with you and they will affect. I was telling you about the wounds, and then I told you about the loneliness, and I told you most of us are lonely, which is very bad. And I said that, you know, it's very bad to be lonely in a crowd. And most men are like that. They are lonely in a crowd. It's very dangerous. That's why you see we go, we smoke something, we go to drink a bit, you know, we do like this. You are there, but everybody knows, I mean, you know everybody, but nobody knows you. You see, you know everybody, but nobody knows you. That's very dangerous. The third step is what I call remembering dad. Remembering dad. How do you remember your dad? Very important. How do you remember him? If you are to summarize your time with your dad, what would you say? Who was he? Eh? Who was he? Because I remember my dad, I think he was very hardworking and he was responsible, I remember. But he wasn't there, he was absent, you know, because he was working hard and he was responsible, he was giving us everything. And I know he was a very clean man, I remember very well. But he wasn't, you know, there to say, maybe we are going to church, maybe we are going to do this. He wasn't there. But he was hardworking and very good. In 3 words, I can say that's what I can say about my dad. Very good man. But now that one, he didn't have it. But I want us to know that transiting into manhood, this is what it means. Because if you don't remember him, then you are going to carry the mistakes or whatever happened to your family. And this is what is going to happen to your son, which is going to be very bad. You see, a father is not perfect. But let me tell you, he's good enough. He is irreplaceable. You cannot replace him. He is not so good. He's not perfect. But you cannot replace the father. You can't. However much he looks, the way he is, that was him. And you need to understand that he did everything as a man. Now as you grow, you'll understand. You'll know why father did what he did. Why he was behaving like that. You can blame him. That's why I said it's better to go and unpack. And when you are to go back to say, sorry, dad, maybe I talked this again about you, maybe I did this, forgive me. Because you'll understand now you are transiting into a man. It's not as easy as we think. He was not perfect, but he was good enough. He raised us. He did so many things for us. So we can't blame him for that. And we need to remember that the glory of the son is in his dad. The glory of the son is in his dad. Even the Bible tells us so in Ephesians 6:4 or Colossians 3:2. You see, the son sees the father as something. This is his star. I remember when we were still young, our fathers at the neighborhood, I mean, my boys, I used to, kids I trained, they would even tell the others, they said, my father can beat your father. You see? And you know, as games, they say, your father is scary, he's too thin. He cannot. My father can fight him. You know, the son thinks the father is everything. And now if there's that gap, there's a wound, it becomes a problem. So as we transit, we have to be very careful. We need to clear our past. We need to forgive our past. We need to be clear as we go. We transit into the new. We are becoming men and we're becoming fathers. We are stepping in the steps. It's not about the car you are driving. It's not about the house. It's about you as a man. You see, most men didn't know then what they need to know now. You see, most men didn't know then what they need to know now. Now it's different. When you become a man, it's different. It's completely different. So we have to understand. You have to remember the dad. I remember him very well. See, working. And the man was there. I mean, responsible because he paid our school fees. I mean, whatever we wanted to. But you know, you can't say he was there when we were going to do this. No. But he was working and he loved us. I'm not saying he didn't. But now you go, remember. How do you remember him? Because it's very important. If you remember him. We need also to understand that men, as you become a man, remember, men were designed to be generational messengers. Sending messages of character, values, and vision. As you become a man, try to look at that. That's the road. See? As you become a man, remember, a man was made to outlive himself by mentoring his son or the young ones. Are you ready for that? Because as you transit, you should know. See, you should know. When you leave P7, there are things you can't carry the second because the suitcase now needs other things. And these are very important things. You see? Very important. If you are not friendly, what type of man are you going to be? Many men don't have friends. Real friends at the soul level, whom they can sit and really tell them what happened last night. And them also listening and understand. You see, my wife said this and this. She was, who of the friends you have, who can tell you something from the soul? That's why you see, you find us, many of us are very lonely and unhappy. You can't climb that mountain when you are disconnected. You need other men to cheer you and also speak in your face. When you're a boy, anybody can talk. But when you become a man, it's different. That's why it says, when I was a boy. But when I became a man, because all those men you see walking and they say they are strong, men don't cry. Men do. We also hurt. But who is there to speak to you? Who is there to speak to your face? You must be friend-worthy, and then people can see. You see? Now, every boy needs something from the father, because it's better and easier to build boys than to mend men. If something didn't happen to you when you were a boy, to mend you as a man, it will be so hard. It's very easy to build a boy than to mend a man. That's why I find them just fighting with the pangas. We will kill him. We will do this if they don't give us this. That is boyhood. Men have a language they speak. See? And as we grow, we understand, as we become men, we understand the Father, the Heavenly Father, from the Father we have here on earth. But as you live boyhood, remember, that was the exploration, but it's also the time to know boundaries when you are still a boy. If you didn't have boundaries, your father didn't show you where to stop and do what, you have a problem even in life as you go. They say he's the managing director. You don't see anything in him. You say he's the manager. See, they say he's your foreman, he's your supervisor. You don't see that because you don't know boundaries. Where did you learn them from? Most of us have been raised by women. Was a mother, the father was not there. Then you went to nursery school, you met a woman. You went to Sunday school, you met a woman. You went to the lower classes, you met a woman. So you were womanish all through. And that is where the challenge comes from. And we grow, then now we transfer to manhood. It becomes a challenge. It becomes a challenge. But now, as we become men, people are looking for men. How does a man change? A man must be responsible. A man has things which really they say, yeah, this one now is a man. You see? A man talks differently. A man must be, so a man has, when he's at home, because this is transition, when we come to that part where we say Now, how do I, when you are the wife doesn't even feel that you are not there. She has to feel you are there, you see. Because a man has 3 things which are very important, you see. He has, with the friends, he must be loyal. He must be faithful. He must also be encouraging, you see. Those 3, he encourages his friends. You need someone who will encourage you. And you need to know that you have someone who really, whom you rely on. When there's something, he knows so-and-so can always guide you, can always encourage you. You see? You must be faithful. People trust you. You see? Very important. Very important. Because if you don't, then you can't, how will you live? How will you live? That's why when we have a problem and we enter into manhood just without going through the transition, we're always discouraged. We're always depressed. And there's danger for us. When you look at men, boys who are transferring from boyhood to manhood, and they didn't get that properly, it becomes a challenge. It becomes too bad. And as you transfer from the boyhood to manhood, what you should know is one, as you become even a father, that every father or man should know that raising their children is going to be their greatest contribution to the time they would not see. Are you ready? As you transfer yourself into manhood, when you become a father, the greatest contribution to your time is to prepare these children to the time you don't know. You don't know that time, but it's coming. And you have to be intentional. See? Very intentional, because you will not be there. You see? You will not prepare for their future, but you prepare them for the future. Very important. Remember, we say you must look back. You must unpack. You must remember your dad. Very important. And as I said, manhood is in a state of confusion. And confused men settle for less. See? Settle for less. And it's very, very, very important for us to know. And the boys need to see and know that no matter where they lived, they had a big dad. Not in size, but in what are you living with from home as a boy? As you transit into manhood, what are you living? What is the takeaway? What are you taking away from your father? Because it's key. You have to go with a takeaway, which will never go away from you. We can read books, we can do what, we can go to churches, pastors can talk to us, but what is the takeaway? What are you taking away from your father? Very important. I know my time is gone. See? Because a boy without a father figure is like an explorer without a map. If your father never gave you a map, that's why we knock anyhow. We just move like that. Because we have no map. Most men will probably succeed in business, but they will be failures as fathers. Not because they were bad, but because they don't have anything. The transition from boyhood to manhood, what happened? See? So, as you transit from boyhood to manhood, as you get a son, remember, so little less riches and a little more comradeship with the son. It is more desirable than anything. But you know, some of us, that transition wasn't so, because every father now is working. Every father is looking for the money. How do you transit? You guys to be different. You are now brothers, you meet together. How do you transit from manhood to boyhood? It is very important. Once you don't clean the behind, your past, it is going to affect the future. See, to be the father of a great son is what is called success. That's why when a father has raised up his son so well, he moves with his head up, no matter what he has. He may not be having too much, but when they say that is so-and-so's son, you see the man walking, you see, because he did his part. See? Most men know that they need to step up to their responsibilities as fathers, but they are lured away by lesser achievements. That's true. If you didn't transit well to manhood, that you can't avoid that. You cannot. See? That's why when you go into father, what you know, you say when you get a wife now, you become like you're the truth. Because the feminism now, this is where we are. We're in feminism state. Now, the woman becomes so stronger than you, but she's not. Because remember, you don't have a what? A warrior face. You can't stand. You can't initiate. When you have that, as a man, you initiate. You stand. You can say no. You can say yes. You can listen. You can. But then she's waiting to hear from a man. Ah, you know, my husband refused that. I don't think my husband would have. You know, he wants to. He wants that to see it in you, not just to say. Now, don't complain and say, ah, you know, these days women are like. No, they are not. You are not a man yet. Become a man and you will see. Man doesn't mean fighting. Doesn't mean having too much money. No. Man is good. It matters a lot. But you need to have that masculinity which was created in us. You are not a boss. You are not. No, you're a leader. Servant leader. But you must. Some men know what is right. But sometimes they hold it back. That one means he has no warrior in him. See, how will he now transfer to the son? You must have a warrior in you. Remember when you're growing up, if your father really had that. There are times mommy would say we could do this, but then the father thinks about it and says, no, that one cannot. A boy, there's a time for us to become men, to become boys, and then get out from our mothers. There's a time the father says, no, let him go. It's raining, and the father says, let him go and carry that thing. Then mother says, even let him wait for the rain. Father says, let him go now. Because he knows in the future, people will depend on you. And there will be no question like, oh, let rain finish, then we get food. No. No. You'll have to go and face the world. So if we transit, we must know, we must become men. Those 4 faces are very important. You must have the king face, which makes you do what is right. See, righteous energy. Whatever you do, you must have the integrity. Then the warrior, you must initiate, you must fight, you must provide, you must fight for your right. You are not pushed. You don't always say, I'll try to find out, I'll hear what she's. No, yes, you can discuss, but you are the man. That's why you say, how do I leave boyhood into manhood? You need that face. You need also to be a friend. You need also to be a lover. That's why you can do whatever, but then when those moments come, you can do them. You see? Many of us are successfully training and developing our sons. We just need encouragement to stay in the moral and spiritual battle of our sons' souls. Sometimes, as you guys transit into manhood, there will be a time when you have a son. But how do you see? You must prepare for that. Because some sons are strong-willed. But because you're brought up well and you know what to do and you can listen and understand as a father. So if you don't correct those mistakes, you are going to pass them over to your son. You see? You are going to pass them over to your son. And that will be dangerous. Because you don't know. Remember, what you don't understand, you cannot correct. How? How do you change what you don't understand? See? So that is caused by sometimes, because when we were growing up, maybe the father was not around. But now we are saying, if you to become a man, you must go back and correct these things. As a man, what type of legacy would you like to leave later? Maybe. You see? Because to become a man, you must be courageous. You must be courageous. So what type of legacy? Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point. That's why being a man, you must be courageous. It's not easy. It's not easy. See? How well you step up as a father will determine the strength of your convictions and priorities. You see? It's very key, very important. Do you have the courage to live by your priorities? Do you? As you transit into manhood. Because it's very important. But no matter what mistakes you have made in the past, no matter what your background, no matter what your years, it's never too late to step up and do your duty. You can change that past, but you don't hide away from it. You go and clean it up. Have the courage. It takes courage to be a man. So as you transit from manhood from boyhood to manhood, you must be courageous. So what have today's boys, you see, we are providing our teen boys with many of the skills they need to succeed at work, but we fail to prepare them to be men of their word, faithful men, and at home. This is true. Go and ask every father. Every father knows how to take his son for swimming, for what, for they pay for this. But you ask, has he ever sat with him and tell him about what it means to be a man? What does it mean to be a man? Ask, Edmond will ask people in the forum, maybe as we finish, you ask them, when did your father sit you down and tell you how to be a man? See? How to engage a girl. How to work, how to keep money, how to save money, how to build a house, how to dress, how do they dress, what type of belt you put on, what type of shoe, because these are things, these are life skills. So this is very important. Yeah? They have tools to find just about anything online, but they don't have the gear to know how to resolve conflict with a friend or family member. This is what is happening. All boys, they have left homes, they are graduates, as Edmond said, but they have the tools to find just about anything on the line. You go and ask them anything on the internet. But they don't have the gear to know how to resolve conflict. Now that one, did you ever see your father resolve a conflict at home? See? If he didn't, then that's it. That's why you see we are all managers are conflicting all the time. But it's not that you are bad. It's not that you are maybe, no. That is also something, it is a skill. It is a skill. We teach them how to drive cars, but not how to steer clear of alcohol or drugs. You see, this is true. And this is what is happening. I know. Edmond, when it's said, please stop me. You see?
Coach, we'll give you like 5 minutes to wind up so that we can entertain a few questions from members. I know that they have a few questions to you.
No problem. Am I clear?
Yes, yes.
It's very important because if you don't, you teach a kid how to drive a car, but how to overcome alcohol, drugs, you don't. Now, as you transit from boyhood to manhood, this is very important because this is what you are going to face. Some of us already have kids. Some of us are, now you are saying, hey, I didn't know this. And you are lucky because most of you are young. Your families are young. Now you are trying to internalize the things which matter the most. When you go in a group of men, you need to look like a man. You talk like a man. You see? You don't jump at everybody. Just jump because you had it on radio. Like a man doesn't behave like that. You meet elder men there talking. You jump in. You see? Because you know about what's going on. No. When I was a boy, I behaved like a boy. But when I became a man, you see, so boyhood must die first. Boyhood must die first. Most of our boys know all the skills in sports, but they are clueless about how to remain sexually pure. That's true. The father cannot teach because he was not taught. But now for you guys, you're lucky. You need to teach your sons. You know what it means. It's not about the economy. It's not about the world. It's about the mind. It's about the mind. You see? It's about the mind. It's very important. We guide them to get into university and make right choices in their careers, but not in how to withstand peer pressure. That's from the father. The boy is transiting. How? No, when this time comes, this is how you behave. The body will change. You'll have this and this, but my son, this is how it goes about. This is what we are suffering from. It's not about anything. It's about that. See, transiting. How did we transit from boyhood to manhood? It was not there. The baton, whoever had the baton just decided to throw it away. So the team lost. It was a relay. The father didn't hand the baton so well, so that I also hand it to my son so well, so that the relay continues. Now we're just looking at those who are running well and say next time when we come back, we don't know whether we'll come back for the Olympics. But we say we will also run like them. Then you copy, then you see, oh, they put on a tie like, okay. Who taught you to tie a tie? Did your father put you on the side and tell you, they don't do like that. Do the shirt like this. No. You see, did he move with you and you see how they move with the mom? How was he trying to prepare for your mom? You see, how? Because these are things. So as we transit, these are things we have to pick. See, teenage boys must be trained to battle. They need to know that. Work. See, when a boy turns 13, you have about 5 years to purposely train him for manhood. When you turn 13, what happened? Some people turned 13 when they had already passed everything, they had known everything. And how did you know? How did they know it? Just from friends, just vaguely like that. And these are the people we are with all the time, in meetings, in what, at work. And you wonder, see, boys need to know God, who God is, and how to relate to his creator. He has to know this through the father. And if you don't know this when you are still a boy, when you become a man, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. I know my time is over. The boy needs to know what a real man is and what he does. Very, very challenging. I think Edmond, I can go all day, but I think I can wait for it.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much, Coach. It was very difficult for me to stop you because I felt like there was more yet to be shared, and I saw everything flowing. So,
I'm sorry.
It's fine, Coach. So our time is very limited, but
Yes.
there are a few things that I would say before I open up from my decoding, having decoded Coach C sharing. There are 4 main things that I learned today, and the first is really that we as men need to understand that our quality and our position as men has a bearing or has an influence on who and what our fathers, the influence of our parents had in us, particularly our fathers. Then 2, that we have to be deliberate as individuals, knowing that we have to take time to gauge ourselves and to understand where we stand in as far as this journey towards manhood is concerned. Then take time to unpack and to improve areas of our deficiencies. If there's anything we did not get from our fathers, if our fathers did not teach us a particular aspect about this issue of manhood, how do we compensate for that, for example? Then the need for relationships, cultivating relationships with other men who speak into our lives and help us grow as far as this journey is concerned. And there could be a few others that I would say. But Coach, there are a few questions that members have. The very first one that a members inboxed me about is a confession, really, that many of us have been raised by women, so that many aspects of our lives have been humanized. We do not have any. We have few things that speak into our personalities that challenge us to step up the man in us, so that everything about us is humanized. The question would be, how would you advise a person of that caliber who has been raised by women, and women have influenced virtually all aspects of their lives? How do you encourage such persons to step up?
Okay. One question?
Yeah, you could respond to that as we invite
okay.
others to.
Okay. Now, this is very important, Edmond, and it's very true, because this is how you came up and this is how you were brought up. But the thing is, you need to know to have an elderly man who maybe when you are growing, or someone who is there, who should mentor you into this, because it's very, 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 very important. When you grow up with mom is in you everywhere, but you have to step up as a man, because now for us, I think in Cornerstone, you are lucky because they teach the Bible, they do everything, and you know what a man, you need to read even some other books, but you need to get someone like a mentor to mentor you through before you make more mistakes, because it is true. If you grow up throughout like that with a woman, it becomes a bit hard, and you must be willing to change, because if you understand that it's going to affect you, then you must be willing to change. Then if you get a mentor, he has really to be a friend. For some people, those who have had like coaches, like teachers, like their bosses maybe, who have been very good men, they really saw something in them, and then they tried to develop them into something. Others, let's say maybe there are those who are like in the families, maybe there was an uncle or someone like that. If you calm down, you know, as they always say, you know, this one you have had, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. To be very frank, manhood is not an easy job. So you need to get a mentor. That is very important. You need to read books, very important, about men. It's not about what, and you must be open to if you are married. If you are not married, which is okay, now you can start reading. If you are married, you become open to your wife, because she will also help you. She will know. And then you have to attend as many of these seminars for men. You need to attend the seminars, because they will help you. Now you need to get a group of men who are friends, whom you can be in, and then you grow in that group, because the group will let you grow. You don't think you're alone. You know, you might think that maybe I'm like this, others are not. No, our stories are unique, but we are not alone. And let me tell you, everybody's. So when you get a mentor, you read the books, you get a group. Maybe at church, I always hear they have men groups. Those groups can help a lot. And then within that group, you can befriend a man, an elderly man, or even the pastor if he's good, and you know he's really teaching the right thing. He can always help you, and you go there. They can develop you into the man you want to be. And that is not impossible. So you shouldn't say that because I grew up with culture, unless if you're not willing. If you are willing to change, there are many opportunities for you to change.
All right, thank you, Coach. I think Asimwe had a question. Please go ahead and share, ask your question. Asimwe, are you there?
Asimwe, go ahead.
Yes. Am I being heard?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, in the first place, I want to first thank Coach Stone. And this is some other time I have just heard from him, sharing almost the same topic. So my question is, more at the time that we actually want to do something that really should actually show you as a young boy who wants to transit from boyhood to manhood. but the environment you are growing from affects you. Because I remember one time I had a friend, but this friend was actually raised from a single family, by a single mother, and every time we share things, that would be the reference. The reference would be me. I didn't grow up with my dad. Yeah, I grew up in a family of about 8 girls. I was the only boy, and thereafter the mom who was caring for us was just like that, was alone. So issues to do with transiting from manhood were too hard. So which advice would you actually give to this brother to really transit from boy to manhood? I think that is my question, and I thank you, Coach Stone.
Yes, growing up with girls doesn't mean that you can't be a man. The disadvantage you said is that there was no father, so you grew up with a woman, which is most of the boys I understand. Now, what I've said is, usually there are doors for boys who grew up in such families, that they could be having some uncles, they could be having some relatives who are good men, who would like to take up that role of the father and help them grow. If they are not there, then that one I would call like a mentor. That's why I say, as you grow, now you know your problem, and now you are trying to learn about it. You should attend many manhood or men conferences or seminars. You need to go there. If you have a church where you go, usually churches have very good men programs. You can go, but while there, you can pick. You can see someone who can lie and tell them the truth, and you say you wanted them to mentor you. Or you can have a group of men at your church. If you have a group of men who will not, you'll be hearing what they're saying and you'll be learning, because you must be open to learn. If you know your problem, that is very good. The next step, are you willing to learn or to change? Because willingness is very important. And then pray about it, because it's not easy. Even people who grew up in families where they have, yes, I was telling him that growing up with 8 girls and then without a father, this is very important, because if you are willing to change and you know your problem, that is the first. Acceptance of what has happened is the best way of overcoming consequences. So now you know your problem. Now it's good you have accepted. Now, the thing is, one, if you have a mentor from the family, because you don't want to maybe to mess up the culture and what, you could get someone who is under your values, who can really follow your values. Then he becomes your mentor as an old man. If no, maybe you have your boss. Your boss could be good. For some of us, when we were playing, we had coaches, we have teachers. If your boss is good, he could also help. But then you may have a group at the church, men's group, where you can belong, and then you can be helped to develop into a man whom you want to be. If you are not already married, even if you are, you can still be in that group. You can even pick among the group, because there will be someone whom you think this one can be like a father to me, or someone. You tell them, be open. And while you are going through that, don't, if you're married, let your wife know. There are seminars. Now you see with the Cornerstone, we are trying to bring in, as Edmond said, this. We have these videos. People can come and watch and see, what does it mean to be a man? Because it's very important. This is an area which is very, 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 very crucial. You can have everything, but to fail as a man is the last thing you want to hear. See, people commit suicide. So accept, then get a mentor. If no, get a group at the church. If no, you have a boss, that's okay. You can have even some of your friends who grew up well and you admire them. You can tell him the truth and you see how they can help you. But it will take some time, but I know it's worth it, your time.
All right, so there's a brother who has a hand up, Bailon Mugisha.
Yes.
Please go ahead and.
Yeah, thank you so much, Edmond. I think you can hear me.
Yes, we get you.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Coach so much, because really it is so much important, and to take that great stride to transfer from boyhood to manhood, really you have to learn from so many. But I have a simple concern, because we are from different families, and from Coach has said that we must have something to learn from the father, but there are some families where you find there is a father and really what the dad does is a misfortune to the family, and to some instances you hear even the woman be like, if this man can die, we can even develop and put up something. And even you hear the mother, the mother herself tell you that if you are like the mother can be like, you're my sons, and I'm telling you, if you copy anything from your dad, like the way the traits the dad is having, you're likely to suffer in life. So like what?
Yes, is it done?
I think he has network issues, but I think you got the gist of his question.
Yes. Now, to be very frank, I want us to understand one thing. Like I said that, looking back. You remember I said that?
Yes.
And I said remembering that. Very important. Let me tell him one thing. He should not interfere with the mom and daddy's wars. Those are their wars. I want him to, the father may not be so good. Maybe the mother wants him to build this and that. That is okay. That is on finance, but he has to respect his father as a father. Because as I told you, as he grows up, you will realize that my father was not perfect, but he tried his level best. You see? So what I'm saying is, he should not interfere into that war, but he has to respect his father as he's a father. Let him pick what he can pick from the father, because I don't think he's all that very bad. I don't think he's bad in everything. He has some good things, but then he has also to choose to try to see, is the mother telling him this because of what she went through with the man? Because sometimes the marriage could have not worked so well and something like that, because usually people fail in marriage and you can't do anything about that. But what I'm saying, let him pick what he can pick from the father if it's good. And if he can talk to the father, let him talk to the father and let him hear what the father is telling him, because it's very important. He has also to understand that. But if he's just a drunkard and what, that's another thing. He also falls in the other category. But here, first for him, he has a father, and he has to respect him as a father. That is very important. And he has to pick what is good from him. And where, you never know, the boy could be the one to change the father. He can even go and talk to the father and say, Daddy, why are you behaving like, why are you doing this and that? He should not be taken. Maybe he's already a mama's boy. Now that one becomes a challenge, because now the father will hate them all. But if not so, let him remain neutral, let him respect his father, and let his father know that my son respects me and loves me. And he can go there now, that is all, to ask him, Daddy, what went wrong? He can ask. Don't say that he will not tell me. He will tell you. And when he tells you, also talk to the mom and see. But don't take sides. And then if there's nothing to pick from the father, now you also fall into the other category. You need someone like a mentor. You need some group at the church where you can belong. You need friends. Cornerstone, you guys have friends. There are those who are doing well, and you really, maybe their transition was good and they grew up well. You can see them and you can pick them. There's always something you can admire from them, and you can ask them, because they could be friends. Just have those intimate friends whom you can talk to from the soul. Not this one, we go for football match. No, soul friend whom you will tell the truth and they will help you. Maybe you don't go to that church. They have a good church. They can say, come and go to my church. We have a good men's program. You can go there and please go and learn. Go and learn. If you don't learn now, your children are going to be like you or even worse. So if you want to, you do it for your children. Don't do it for yourself. So don't hate the father, but again, pick what you can, which is good. Go to him. If he can listen to you, let him tell you the story. And then also you tell mom, don't hate any, because they are your parents and the book is so straight. Honor them. And then now you can join these groups. You can be different, but you could be the transitional figure in your family. You could change and bring sanity between them.
Okay, there was another person who raised their hand, but is not yet here. But I guess that from the responses, Coach, one of the things I wanted to acknowledge is that I am learning from the concerns from members and from your sharing that men are really the pillars of society. And it is until, it is until men understand who they are and what they should be doing, chances are high that society will end in chaos. And the other thing I learned is that it may not be very fair or very useful to maintain grudges with our parents, especially our dads, because you never know. No. They may have also had no opportunities to learn from their fathers. They are also wounded children. So it is upon us. It is upon us to forgive them and realize that maybe my father's father was not a good example to him. Maybe he was not taught and is operating from a very narrow script. So what about me now, who has other opportunities to learn? What can I do better to improve my condition as a man in my generation? Because you in this generation has an impact in the next generation. That could be your children, could be the fellow men in your circles. You could do something about it to change the narrative. And I guess that all of us have something to do. It is just about choosing to be open-minded and to scan what we could change about our condition today. Because if you look around, the boy child is neglected. Our cultures are dysfunctional. I think that in the early days we used to learn from our cultural systems. The cultural systems now are not there. So learning has to be on a personal initiative, taking the initiative to look, like Coach said, the men's group, mentors, other circles where there can be options to learn from. Because things have changed. It is not in the past where there used to be compulsory fire sessions with grandfathers or with uncles, where chances of learning were very high. So that was what I wanted to say. I will open up for more questions if there are any. Emma.
And another thing, yes, you ask the boys and find out how many have ever walked with their father and ask him, Daddy, how did you grow up? What was your childhood? Have you ever seen it? Have you ever taken that? Because he will tell you. He will tell you. Okay.
Emma the Great from Sorority, I think that you have a question. I am going to unmute you so that you can go ahead and share. So Emma, go ahead.
Am I clear?
Yes, please.
Yes, you are.
Are you
yes, we are getting you. Yes, we are getting you.
Okay, thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to thank the coach. However, I didn't pick his name at the first place. That's my first question. And then two, most men don't know their capacities. Most men do not know their capacities. So I would appreciate that next time we organize another sharing and we discuss about the strength of a man. The strength of a man. Because most men grow, but they do not know their strength and they do not know their capacities. I have a question. Why do women easily win the love of our children more than us? Why is it that women easily win the love of our children? And then number two, how does stress inspire happiness? How can you inspire happiness through strength? Because most of us men at home show happiness to our family members. So how can you inspire happiness through the strength? I think those are the two questions I would also love to know. And then maybe finally, what is the basic approach to a quarrel at home when you're a man? When you have issues at home, how best can you approach that? Because most of us men do not know how to handle that. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Emma. Coach, you can go right ahead.
The first question he asked about the capacity, we don't have capacity. Remember when I was opening, I said, manhood is in a state of what? Confusion. And I said, confused men settle for less. So now he talks about capacity. You cannot, if you are confused, you cannot, your capacity is very low because you don't know. And confused men settle for less. So you always settle for less. Now, women, why do women win love from their children? Now, this is a very good question. I think everybody asks, and all of us have mothers, have what. But you know, remember, when we are born, we have that code I told you, the umbilical cord, which is connected to the mother. There's nothing you can change that. It's natural. Then the second one is the emotional cord. All the time, a child is with a mom. All the time. She feeds him. She does everything. She cries. She wakes up. Every time the kid, even if they have just born, the child is just born. When she opens her eyes, the picture, the first thing she sees is the mom all the time. And mom is always there in terms of everything. Pain, what. Now, fathers, we also can be loved by our children if we put in time. But the problem we have, I think, we don't have time. We don't mean that you should be there and breastfeed the kid or do what. No, as a father, we also have our time with these kids. But the problem we have is that we have given priority to the things we do than the things we love. And that's the challenge. That for us, a man is known by what he does. So that's, for him, that's very important. Whereas a woman will always think about her child. Now, what you have to understand as a man is that you also have your moments. You can love your children, and you have to tell them all the time, I love you, I know you are good, you are this, all the time. And when they see you all the time, when they need this, you don't bark, you don't do, because some cultures think that as a man, barking is what shows manhood. But that's not true. You know, you can show love to your children just like the mother does. It's only that the mother has them more. She has more time with them than you. But you can also prioritize because it's a priority. That's why in Cornerstone teach something which says things which matter most must never be at the mass of things which matter least. Now, if you are from work and you also have to meet your group, your friends at home, but you know dinner is at 8, why do you stay out until 10? If this matters most, you need to change in your priorities. Now you need to prioritize. You see which is more important. And kids, when they're still young, from age 1 to 6, you know, those are very important ages. And then from there to 13, 14, they're important. They want to see, are you involved in their life? But the mothers are always involved, even if they don't have. The mother can buy even kabalagala and brings to her kids. But how much is it? But a man can have 20 and decides to share with his friends. So I think it's just a matter of priorities. But if we invest our time in them, they will love us also. By the way, they love us. It's only that they are so close to their mothers. And that now the mother take up the hand. So the emotional, you need also to win. It's not a war between you and the mom. No. They are your kids and they know dad is here. And when you are seated, you are eating together, you are talking. Mommy says, let daddy do this. Let daddy help here. Then you say, mommy will do this. Now they hear such talk and they see how you, the father and the mother, the way you behave. I think it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Then another question was, I don't know whether I had strength to love or was it stress? Edmond,
stress, yes. I had stress.
Yeah, I had like the stress that how can you love in stress? Was that the question?
Yeah, it came out like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's, all of us are stressed, but we need to understand what brings the stress. You see, stress is doing beyond what we can, I think, all think beyond what we can. If we can't change something, then it will stress us. But I think you can still love in stress. How? When you really tell your friend or your wife or your kids, they know now daddy is in this situation, is in this position, is in this time, is not well. He has this and this which is going on. And then you have prayers with your family, because I think he was talking about the family. Can you really love your family when you are stressed? Yes, you can. If the family is used to praying together and you don't hide them anything, because sometimes stress comes when you have hidden them something. But when the wife knows what's going on in your life and they pray as a family, they say, oh, let's pray for daddy. Daddy is going through this. I think they will understand and they'll try to ease your stress a bit. You may be having problems at work or what, but when you come home, it is a place where you come to ease stress and also just relax and enjoy. But now, if you keep your stress to yourself, it's hard for you to love the family. You'll even hate them. But when you tell them, and they know what is going on in your life, and you have always been praying together, I think stress can also go. Another thing is, why do you die stressed when you have friends? You need friends, because some friends are good at handling such things. They will encourage you. That's why you see, you can find a rich man or a big man, a minister, but he works with a small man. The small man, you say, what is he doing with that small man? And the small man is his friend. He eases his pressure, he eases his stress, and he helps him, he advises him. You look at most of those men, you'll see. You'll find that they have such, you say, who is that one? The man, we want to see him in the office, but he says, this man, what is he doing in the office? But you don't know. Such people. So everybody has a part to play in your life. There are people who can ease stress from you. So have those friends, your family, your parents, if they are still there, your relatives, all those is friends. And also avoid doing so many wrong things. Because when you do wrong things, they'll stress you up. Because you are now wondering, what am I going to do if I lose the job, if this happens, you see? Then he also asked about the best approach to quarreling. Quarreling. You see? Now, this is, if someone has a habit, that's why when we in future, when we come back on Manhood, we look at what type of woman do you marry? Because you need to know the personalities of the people you marry. You need to know each other. Could be you are the one who is
problem.
Who has, yes. But now you say the woman, no, wouldn't be, maybe she's not quarreling, but you are the problem, and you need to find out your personality. Could be this, could be that, could be you have a lot of problems, could be, but you have nobody to share with. I think quarreling comes from reaching a point whereby you cannot reason anymore, not thinking. Now you want to quarrel, you want to fight, you want to do everything, which is very bad. Not only at home, even at work. If someone is very quarrelsome, by the way they cause a problem for themselves, they'll be dismissed, they'll be sacked, because nobody wants a company like that. But this one you need to learn. These are habits. You can change this habit if you are the one. If you are not the one, try to get the person who quarrels with you. Let them come and talk to you. Listen and understand. Listen to them. Just keep listening and understand them. Maybe you can solve the problem. But if you are not listening and what you are answering is just anger, then quarrel will continue. But learn to listen, accept their side, and then after them, don't talk before them. Because people who quarrel most are those who want to talk fast. Now, when the other person say, no, let him listen to me first. Now, for them, if he doesn't listen to me, I'm not going to listen. Now, that is not proper. Let's, as we said, we are talking about transferring from boyhood to manhood. Boys quarrel. Men listen. Boys quarrel. Men listen. Don't say, but I saw a big man quarreling. He was a boy. That's why I said some men dress like men. It's not about age. It's about transition. You could be 60, but you have never transited from boyhood to manhood. So don't talk about age. That's why you see the boy can be, Edmond, you're young, and they say, but that boy behaves like a man. You have seen that, isn't it? Yeah, sure. Because they see, the men can see. Yeah. So unless I didn't understand well, you can tell him.
I guess you answered the question in the spirit in which it was asked. There are three more brothers who have questions, and one of them is Mule Isaac. I think that Isaac, yes. I am going to allow you to go ahead and ask your question. I have unmuted you. Isaac, are you there?
Okay, thanks. Yes, I'm online. Okay, Edmond, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I think above all, I just want to appreciate what Stone has kind of like expounded to us. Stone, thanks a lot. And this is a powerful message. I just want to make a comment that some of us have ventured into fatherhood with a little or no knowledge of exactly what it requires to be either a man or a father. And as such, this kind of transition, this kind of failure from from understanding exactly what is required of you as a father ends up moving into maybe you translating that information also like to your children. And I can assure you that I think the greatest missing link here is in terms of the economic hardship. I currently sit in South Sudan, and my family lives in Kampala. And totally you can see from this that maybe the father aspect might be missing in my family, because literally everything is managed by my wife in the house. And I want to ask you a question. How, as a family, do we work cooperatively with like, say, my spouse to be able to build that fatherhood or the dad aspect in my house amidst these economic challenges where people are moving here and there, they're living outside their families and for a very long time. I've been here like for 5 months, and definitely my children might be missing me, but how do I work cooperatively with my wife to be able to build that fatherhood? I mean, to fill that gap of the fatherhood in my house. That's one. Two, currently in my house, I have 2 children whom I'm supporting. One is in the university and one is in the S3. But from my interaction with these boys, I seem to understand that these boys actually, their transition from childhood to adolescence seems there must be something missing, because I see like, I try to engage them in some discussions really to understand where they kind of like making a shift, but I see in their minds that they are kind of like still as children. So how do I work in bringing up these children, especially like the one who is already in the university, to see and take responsibility and stand family? Because this is a child that I got him from another family, completely different, but I wanted like to kind of like, how do I build this guy to be able to stand firm in their family?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. The first question is, how can I work to build the fatherhood in my home when we are apart?
True.
Now, that's a very good question, and it's a challenge. But for you, I don't think you are too far. I don't know where he is. He's in Southern Sudan.
Yes.
It is. And then the family is in Kampala.
Yes.
Now, I'm just looking at how much time, how much off does he have? Because if he can say in a month he can travel back home here, that could be great. But then there's also another advantage for the modern times, because the technology has really come. You understand? Now look at this Zoom. But now the phones have the video, you know, and the mother should always call and say, Daddy has said this. Daddy loves you so much. Daddy has sent you this. You know, her language is going to connect them. And then maybe in the evening, when they are going to eat or dinner, Daddy can say, let me pray. Even if it's far, you get my point.
Yes.
They can put him there on their video, and then the father prays. And then they say, Daddy, bye, it tells them good night, something like that. Technology has come, it can push it a bit nearer. And then another thing, when he's here, this is when he has to invest most of his useful time in them. Be with them, talk to them, teach them, do activities with them, because that's when he's not there, they will not miss him so much. But how long, how many? He has stayed there for 6 months.
Yes.
I don't know whether he has tried to come back and then he doesn't. If he has time, because he has to take this as a priority. He has to take it as a priority. If he has time within 2 months and he can come back for a week, then he has to, because it's important. It's not urgent, but it's important. As the good thing, he has realized that he's missing something. Another thing is about technology. We can use technology. Now we are too far for different countries, but we can meet. If you can do that, that will be good. He can put money in a computer. They put it at home, maybe at the dining. When the kids are back from school, they are going to have dinner. He also stays with them. As they eat, he sees them and they talk, they do this. Because this is why technology has come in now. And it can help a lot, better than formally. But now, his time when he comes is very important. Another question was about these children. They are his brothers, or he brought them to his home to teach, to stay with them. But he has seen that the university, one is in university, one is senior 3. But he sees that they are still behaving like boys. And instead of being mature. Yes, something to mature must be watered. They were not watered. So you can see, you see, because they have missed that gap. Now all he has to do is, when he's around, is to be with them, talk with them, maybe send them even to the village. If there's where they can also go and help, they also go meet other uncles, other people who are elderly, stay with them. But all he has to do is, he doesn't give them even free things, but he makes sure that everything they get, they have to work for it. Meanwhile, teaching them the value of work. And while he's at home with his wife, he talks about how a man stays with a wife, and they see it. And he talks about manhood. He has to talk to them because now they miss that gap. It's not as easy as we think. I don't know whether they'll cover up, but now he has the time to do it. Even when they're not with him, he can send them home to any uncle or someone. Another thing is about also these groups we said. I know they're in Kampala, they go to some churches. They are main churches. There are seminars at the university, like where most of the Cornerstone kids go. I think they have these groups, they call them, I don't know what, these church groups. They can join that, but they can always go. And he tells them to join about the church. Join about this, because now they're becoming men if he's at university. This is very important. And also when he's not there, now they should become the men at home. You see now, he has another thing to test them. They should become the men at home. You see, they have to see how the home is running. You see, it's them now to feed him and say, now this. If there's wet this cleaning, they clean it. If the power is not, they work on it. They have to see that these kids are behaving. They are now the fathers at home. So I thought now he has that advantage. So he tells them, this is now he acts as the father, this one of university. When he's there, the kids must be in line. He has to put them well. He has to do this. Meanwhile, he's learning how to be a man. He's learning responsibility. You see, if money is left, some money can be left to the wife, but then the wife can give it to him and say, you go and do this and that and that. These are also things to teach him, because he has that advantage. Yeah, so they should not just stay, put the legs and watch TV and then eat. No, now he's not there. Now they are here. They take over his responsibility, which he would have done. They take kids to school. They do this. They do such work. To me, I think that can help. I don't know whether I got him well, but that's what I think.
Yes, Coach, you did. And our time is really up. We should really be winding up this meeting for today. Coach, I should really thank you for taking time to share with us today. This message has been invaluable. And we hope that we will continue to have more sessions in the future to share and learn.
Yes.
Because one of my convictions is that part of the reason we continue to struggle is that we have weak links in our early lives. As men, we wake up from childhood, we are fired up, we are encouraged to go to school, look for jobs, and we are faced with the realities when we get married or when we now begin to live family life. There's so many things that we need to attend to as men, yet we have not been taught to be men. So, like you rightly alluded to, our lives then become characterized by confusion, anger, frustration, and disappointment. And it is actually, I think that it is part of the reason men do not reach their life expectancy. They say that men have a shorter life expectancy. It's largely because of this confusion, this anxiety, and because of the lack of orientation from childhood. I think that as individuals and as men, we should take time to teach others, because the future of our lineages and families depend on actually our sons and boys. Our daughters get married, they go and start their own family lives. But we need to acknowledge the fact that there's responsibility upon us as men to carry on the legacies of our families, but also to mentor others in our societies and make sure that we contribute to the societies positively. I don't know if you have any last words to say, then we can call it a day.
Well, thank you so much, Edmond. And I would like to thank everybody who Zoom and those who are not. But as they go, they should not worry so much, because some say, but am I really so bad? Am I like that? Everything, as we say, you cannot make, you may not change the past, but you can change the future. I know if we are willing to change and we are willing to learn, and we really let us do it for our children, not for ourselves. Everything you missed, do it for your children, not for yourself. Because it will be so bad to see the things you saw in your father, to see them in your son. You see, like the other guy said, it will be very, the tears will really come down, and you say, the boy is behaving like my father. But why? You had the time. So it's never too late to change. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And thank you, everybody, for attending this meeting. I should be able to share this message with those who may want to listen to the full package. I know that members have been in and out, and there'll be more opportunities to learn in the future. We'll continue interacting and sharing opportunities to learn like this one. But for today, we'll call it a day. God bless you all, and thank you, Coach, for the day's message.
No problem.
All right. Bye, everybody.